Hello there, you're listening to The Box Office Show. I'm Ryan Hill.
And I'm Dylan Johnson. Today we're going to be talking about the box office numbers from last weekend and our box office predictions for this upcoming weekend.
We'll also be talking about the Oscar draft. That's right,
Woo!
2025. The Oscar draft is here.
Bow,
So
bow, bow.
we will find out
Bow,
who will be
bow,
emerging
bow.
victorious in our fourth Oscar draft, I believe. Crazy. Start out with some news. Bad news, Dylan, Mickey 17, your most anticipated film, 2 years running, has been delayed yet again.
I'm devastated. Please just give it to me.
It
Bong,
won't
if you're listening, can you just email me? Just email it over, please. I just want to see it so fucking bad.
You won't have to wait too much longer. It'll be a delay of like 3 months. But it'll still hit in 2025. April 18th is the new release date.
I'm going to die. I'm going to die if I don't see this movie. Please, Bong. Please just email me just like a little zip drive with the movie on it. Just please, please, please. In other news, there is a Mass Effect TV series in development at Amazon on Prime. I don't care. Although I'm not surprised because of the success of the Fallout show. This was only a natural step for them to continue making video game adaptations as TV series. Ryan, did you ever play Mass Effect?
I did not.
Me neither.
However, it does seem like a game that would, fit well within my desires for gaming and stuff like that. Like I do like that whole, choose which path you want to go down. There's been a couple games I played that have had that, and I know Mass Effect is sort of the one that made it the best it could be. So,
dude, you should play Infamous.
I have played Infamous. That was so.
Oh, here we go. He knows it.
So
they should do an Infamous adaptation because that game fucking slaps. All three of them, they're all great.
There's a third?
Yeah, it's called Infamous Second Son. It's a new character. It's not Cole, and it takes place in Seattle. And his power, his conduit power, is that he can absorb other conduit powers.
So yeah, I think I played that abilities. One. Infamous Second Son is the one I played.
Yes.
I didn't realize that was the third one. But
you didn't play the first two Infamous games with Cole, the bald white guy? He's got electricity powers.
He's I don't
think so. OG conduit, dude. Those games fucking
You're
slap.
Up on the lore though, conduits and everything. I mean, you
this was a good game. I remember because my brother got it first. I was too young to actually be playing such a dark game because Infamous Second Son, as you know, is kind of dark. But dude, the first Infamous game is like dreary. It takes place in like it's because the bomb goes off that causes the conduit powers to like happen, and the messenger guy, his name is Cole. He's the one who gets the powers, and then he's stuck in this quarantined city. Like all the bridges are turned down, the city is turned into one giant slum. It's like very, very dark. It's like a very dark story, and Infamous, you can be like bad. You can be a bad guy, so you can make it darker if you really, really want to. But the aesthetic itself of the first game is just very dreary and dark and morbid. And so I remember watching my brother playing it and being like, this is crazy. This shit is wild. And then when I was old enough, like maybe a year or two later, when I was really old enough to like comprehend the morality of being good or bad, I played it and it was epic. Love it.
So that game mechanic in Infamous, a couple of the Spider-Man games as well had incorporated that where you could be a menace to the city.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you wouldn't want to be. You want to try and like avoid that, but you could just become a villain and let J. Jonah Jameson go crazy on you. But so yeah, that is a mechanic that I like. And then obviously sci-fi, a big space opera, like that fascinates me as well. So at some point, honestly, I did want to play Mass Effect. I'm sure they got remasters in the pipeline, especially now that there's going to be a TV series. So maybe around that time is when I'll check it out. But yeah, I will continue to hold to my opinion, which is I want big spectacle on the big screen. I don't like TV series being the main destination for all these huge adaptations. For some, it makes sense. Last of Us gets a pass. That works. Again, Fallout, I haven't seen it. It seems to be doing good. And I can see the logic.
I never finished it, but I liked the episodes I saw.
I can see the logic with Mass Effect as well, since it's such a sprawling storyline and everything. But I'm like, guys, just put it on the big screen. Like, find a way. I mean, we brought Lord of the Rings in a trilogy, back to back, 1 year after the other, and it was fantastic.
Yeah,
We
but
can do it again.
I think the fact that diminishing returns for TV shows over time has decreased for successful shows. In fact, there are no diminishing returns. Like if a show is successful, it will increase its revenue over time as seasons come out. I think that like Game of Thrones proving that that is possible is something that is making more sense for production companies to put out TV series. Also, streaming has been built for TV more so than movies. I think movies are still, even though there are a lot of streaming original movies, I think people still associate movies with movie theaters more often than not, or older movies with streaming services as opposed to originals. And so I still think streaming has a hump to get over in terms of getting people to want to see movies first on a streaming service as opposed to a theater.
Right.
Whereas TV series has always been on the television. You have the audience is like built right in, you know.
Yeah, but that's what I'm advocating for. I want this to be in theaters.
Mass Effect
And
specifically, because I don't
Mass
give a fuck.
Effect, all these major like adaptations that they're trying to do. We talked about Horizon Zero Dawn as well. Just things like that. Like put
Well,
it on the big
I'm kind of
screen.
against video game adaptations as a whole for the most part because I
I
feel like
mean,
I've just
it's
seen more bad than good.
well, yeah, but now we're in a point where because there's been a couple successes, now they're going all in and they're going to adapt everything under the sun, and so that's
Yeah,
going to breed the same sort of thing with the comic book movies. Of there's some really good adaptations, there's some big misses, but I'm fine if I just have to invest only 2 hours into that miss in a big screen, theatrical setting, rather than potentially 8 to 10 hours for one season and then
or
wait
you could
two
just
years
stop
for
watching
another
if you don't like
season
it.
by that point where I'm no longer invested as I once was. So I just prefer, if we're going to go all out. And that's the other thing, too. I mean, they spend a crazy amount of money. I think with Game of Thrones, you're right, but I think that's a fluke. I think now, since everything's trying to emulate Game of Thrones,
Hmm.
notice that they're emulating the final 2 seasons.
Yeah,
So we
the
don't have a
budget's
decade to
insane.
build up anymore. So yeah, the budgets are crazy.
It's
They're
way too
already the
high.
budgets of feature films, like huge blockbusters. And then again, it takes 2 years for a season to come out. And at a certain point, I mean, you could have the euphoria effect of like all the actors blowing up and wanting to move on to other things,
Hmm.
but they have to come back and they're no longer passionate about the project that they need to finish out contractually. So I just think if we're gonna, do all the video game adaptations, I think there's some that we can bring to the big screen and just go all out. Not
Yeah,
Mario and Minecraft. Don't have those as the only
and
movie
Borderlands.
adaptations of video games. That's crazy.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. In other news, Simon Kinberg has been announced to helm his own Star Wars trilogy.
Another one.
This is like the
Yet
fifth
another
time
one.
this has happened. We'll see if this one actually comes to pass. I mean, the Benioff and Weiss duo from Game of Thrones didn't get their trilogy.
It's hard. We need to come up with like the list, the running list, because I
Taika
feel like we make
Waititi
this
didn't get his
announcement every other
trilogy.
month. Every other month we do this,
Yeah.
and they
Who
keep
else got
doing it.
announced? Is what's her name from Wonder Woman? Patty Jenkins. Is her
Patty
movie still coming out?
Jenkins, Taika Waititi, Ryan Johnson, like all these people,
Yeah,
and no
canned.
developments. It's insane. So
Nothing. Not even
James
like
Mangold,
I want to see how far. I would love to question these people, see how far
like how
these
far do they
deals
actually
go
get?
into production. Yeah, is it simply
And
just ideas, or have they thought about casting?
they
Have they
have
done
one phone
like
call.
story art?
They have one phone call, and then the press release goes out.
Yeah,
Someone says, "Oh, that'd be cool to make a Star Wars film," and then they immediately say, "All right, we got him on board. New Star Wars film coming out."
like do any of these people even have scripts at all, or that'd be so
No,
interesting
again,
to read these scripts, but there's just no way.
The Ray film is getting like a new screenwriter, so
Yeah,
it can't possibly be. So this is absurd. However, I guess he might be more likely since he's already been in the Star Wars universe. He was co-creator of Rebels. However, maybe it would be best if this trilogy didn't come about because looking at his track record, I
yeah.
don't think it would do much to help resuscitate Star Wars, especially in the theatrical space. So he's been writer of Fan Four Stick, the 2015 version.
You can't
X
call it that.
That's what it is. Okay, they put it on the
I
poster.
know.
I'm just reading it
It's
How about it?
Fantastic Four, where they made it stupid.
Yeah. X-Men: The Last Stand and X-Men: Apocalypse, and then he was also director as well as writer on Dark Phoenix, the film that ultimately killed Fox, and then The 355, which was a film that came out recently that completely bombed. However, to his credit, he does have the screenplay by credit on Days of Future Past,
And that one's a
which is a
banger.
banger. Yeah.
Absolute
So
banger. To
maybe
his credit, and also to his credit, Rebels, from what I've been told, is very good as well. I haven't seen it, but I've been told that Rebels is good.
yeah. So maybe every decade or so, he just comes out with a banger.
Yeah.
So
But his
maybe
track
this will be
record
it.
is not great.
But he has 3 films apparently in this trilogy, so I don't have faith that he can keep it
Dude,
up
they'll just give a
the whole
fucking.
way.
Is he going to direct them too?
I would assume so. I think
It's
yeah, he's being brought on
insane.
as writer director for it. So we will see. We will see. But yeah, I don't think we have too much to worry about. I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah. Let's do our box office breakdown for the past weekend, November 1st to the 3rd. Coming in first place, Venom: The Last Dance with 25.9 million. That is a 49% drop in its second weekend, which for a comic book movie is a decent hold.
It's a very strong hold. So yeah, I am pleased with that. Things are looking good in the Venom Last Dance camp. Again, it will not be a runaway hit, but it'll
Womp womp.
do exactly what it needs to do and get me, I mean, not too much closer to you, but keep me in the race. So
Mhm.
allow Moana and Mufasa to do their thing. So
Yeah.
we will see. The Wild Robot with 7.4 million coming in second place.
Smile 2 with 6.7 million. It has now crossed the 50 million domestic total.
Conclave with 5 million.
Here with 4.8 million.
We Live in Time, 3.4 million.
Terrifier 3 with 3.2 million, and it has also crossed the $50 million domestic total, which is incredibly impressive for Terrifier 3.
100%. So, yeah, many Terrifiers to come, I am sure. Bul Bulaya, 3, with 2.2 million.
And another Bollywood film, Singham again, 2.1 million. So
And rounding out,
Bollywood coming in full force here.
they always are. It's incredible to see like the top 10. There's always at least one or two, sometimes three that make it in there. So, yeah, shout out to them. And rounding out the top 10, Beetlejuice with 2 million, capping off the Halloween season.
And our box office predictions for November 8th to the 10th. The big thing to talk about is Venom coming into its third week. Of course, had a 49% drop over the past weekend, dropping only to 25.9. Will it have as sturdy as a hold? Obviously, most comic movies, the biggest drop off percentage wise is that first one coming off the first weekend. So the percentage drop probably will be close to the same, maybe a little bit bigger of a drop percentage wise. I'm thinking it's going to hold on a little bit better than that. I'm giving it 15 million.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, I was gonna say 13 million, but let's go with your number. Yeah,
All
let's
right.
get an even better hold. All right, let's now jump into the 2025 Oscar draft. Here we go.
Woo!
Once again, gonna
That
be
time.
selecting some films for our roster. The rules are simple. We will each pick 5 films to be on our roster. And if come an Oscar nomination time, the films on our rosters are represented, then we get 1 point for each nomination for any of our films. And then during the Oscar ceremony, we will also calculate 3 points for every win that one of the films on our rosters has received. And we will add everything up at the end of it and see who has the higher total. And that individual will be crowned the winner of the Oscar draft. So there we go. Simple, nice and easy. Coming into this year, Dylan, trying to reclaim your throne for the Oscar draft.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts? What are you thinking about? How are you feeling about the
This one
Oscar lineup?
is definitely scary. There are front runners for sure, but in years past, there have been a lot of movies that came out earlier in the year that you can be pretty confident are front runners. This year, it feels very sparse. Of the movies that are on my list, I think I've only seen 3 so far, which makes it very, very scary to making choices and committing to the movies that I have not yet seen. And we have now traditionally done this a little bit earlier in the year than we had to when we first started doing this, in order to make it a little more difficult since we haven't seen a lot of those movies. But this year in particular uh, has been quite a big rain on smaller movies, more unknown filmmakers who are now starting to come into the limelight. Not a lot of big names dropping movies this year. So it could be anyone's game. There are obviously front runners here in terms of odds, Vegas odds, things like that. There are feelings we have towards what we think should win. This is definitely a much tougher year than years past, and I have always thought that the Oscars draft is always a little bit tougher than the box office draft, just because obviously the voting pool for the Oscars is much smaller than the possible audience for a movie to determine how big that box office is. And between now and when the actual nominations happen, which is only a month away, anything could happen. We have the Golden Globes still to happen. We have other awards to happen that will sway people's choices. We have the production companies vying for award nominations, trying to get wins and nominations to promote their movies. So a lot can change in this 1 month. And it is definitely a little stressful. I do definitely want to win. You won last year, and I won the year before that with Everything Ever All at Once.
And then I won the year before that.
You won the war before that. So it's my turn. It is my turn for sure to win. I am feeling a little better than I would have before. I was nervous coming into it because I hadn't seen so many of the movies, but I went through a lot of the odds lists. I went through my own personal thoughts of what I think will win. I did a lot of tallying, and I have ranked everything by points, by what I think will make the most points versus what I think will make the least points. And I think I'm going to clean up. I think I'm going to do very well. Ryan, how are you feeling?
Very confident in yourself there. Last year, again, I came in cool, calm, collected. I just made my picks very quickly, very decisively, because I just felt like that was a wrap. It was going to happen, and it did. A blowout victory came from that. This time around, I will say we're shooting from the hip a little bit.
All right.
We're coming in, and we have not done as extensive of the research that I have in years past, but I do, have a general sense of the front runners. As you were saying, there are a few clear ones. Again, last year there was like a very prominent 4.
Yeah.
And either way, it was going to be like 2 and 2 here. I think that's kind of the case with kind of an asterisk. It's not as clean, and I also don't think there's as like specific of a divide that there needs to be in order for each of us to remain competitive. But yeah, I think once you get past that, the like handful of films that are very clearly gonna do well and be represented, it gets dicey because again, there's a lot of these films that have come out in the festival circuit, but not many have actually released yet. I have seen none, so we're gonna have to. I don't know. I'm just gonna rely on people's reactions, reviews that have come out, things like that, because I do not have my own opinion to gauge me, which in some respect might be good because then it won't mean I'm really rooting for a film that I like to get Oscar nominations, even if it might not be possible, and then vice versa. But yeah, a lot of it is going to be going off of just the initial reactions that we have, because like you said, there's not much in the way of established precedent to rely on for a lot of these filmmakers and a lot of these types of films that we're seeing. It's a very interesting mix. So that'll make things exciting, I think, when it comes down to the actual ceremony and seeing like who will take the wins. But for us right now, it'll make things a little nerve-wracking because it could go either way. Like there could be some huge whiffs here.
For sure. So. I am definitely particularly nervous because last year I bombed so horribly at the box office or at the Oscar draft specifically. I think that was, of all these drafts we've done like 7 now. That was my by far worst performance. I made the least amount of points I've ever made on anything. I had, I think, 2 films that got no nominations whatsoever. And I was like going into watching the Oscars, I had already known that I had lost. You were so far ahead of me already, and your movies were the heavyweights to win, let alone those nominations.
Oh yeah.
Like it was the most devastating performance I've ever given in a draft. So I'm committed to, at the very least, turning up, turning out, doing the best I can to try and rack up points so that I don't embarrass myself again, because that was just abysmal and absolutely embarrassing. And because I feel so confident about the box office draft, I'm hoping I can have a double whammy and claim both,
Mm.
because that would feel really, really good, and
Uh-huh.
you would feel really, really bad.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
That's right. You ready to do the coin toss?
Yeah, this coin toss could be, I
The
think,
deciding
more than
factor.
years past. It will be decisive.
Yep. All right. Make your call.
Let's go with heads.
All right. I have flipped the digital coin.
The
It is
digital
heads.
coin. Oh,
You get it, Ryan. All yours.
let's go. Oh my goodness. Set
What
up.
is your first pick going to be? I have
It
a
will
good
be.
feeling I know what it is.
Oh, you already know.
Uh-huh.
The film that brought me to victory
Yep.
in our first Oscars draft.
Yep.
The sequel will take me even higher.
Mhm.
Dune Part 2.
Of course. That is a good first pick. If you had not picked it, that would have absolutely been my first pick as well.
Yeah,
I
I
think it's
mean
going to
it
clean up
had
in
to be.
nominations. It's going to clean up in wins again, especially in those technicals. I think you're absolutely right. On the opposite side of that, on the opposite side of technicals, which this year is the above the line awards more so. I guess I can't really say above the line, below the line, because it's not, doesn't quite divide. It's technicals and non technicals, I guess is the best way to say it. But the non technical awards, that one seems a little bit shakier, but I think there's definitely a front runner in the non technicals. So my first pick is going to be Sean Baker's Honora,
Oh wow. Taking
which I
Mr. Baker
saw
there.
a few days ago.
You saw it? Oh
I
my.
did.
Okay. Wow. We'll chat a little bit afterwards there
Yes,
because
we
obviously
will.
that is one to be looking toward.
Mm-hmm.
Um wow, okay, okay. My next selection will be one, and of course, we always dig deep into our thought processes afterwards, but
Mm-hmm.
this was the like alternate choice there. I feel like whoever didn't choose Honora would have to go with this next one here,
Mm-hmm.
The Brutalist.
Okay. Okay, that's a good choice. The only thing that makes me think it might not be a good choice for you is I think The Brutalist is going to clean up in nominations. I think, though, its chief winning will be in the technicals, which is going to be battling Dune 2 for. So I think in terms of wins, you just doubled your chances of winning the same awards as opposed to diversifying which movies you
We'll
think.
we'll
We'll,
dive
we'll,
into
we'll
that.
discuss.
Yeah. All right.
My
What is
second
your
pick
second pick?
is going to be one that I think is going to absolutely dominate nominations, but may not win as many. So I'm banking on a lot of nom points for this one. I'm going to go with Emilia Perez.
Indeed. Yes, one that we have not mentioned a single time on this show, I think, except maybe when we did our recap of Cannes.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, solid choice.
Mhm.
My next selection is going to be a film that you have seen, Conclave.
Ah, that's a good choice. Good choice. Very upsetting. Now, I'm going to follow that up with a movie to battle your technical movies. I'm going to pick, unfortunately, Gladiator 2, a movie that I'm not looking forward to seeing, but I'm hoping will clean up in some nominations.
Fascinating. And to build on top of that, I will also choose a blockbuster film that I would not have chosen had we done this a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been put on my radar, and we're going to see if the hype is real or if it is not. But I'm going with the other half of Glicked, Wicked.
Wow. Interesting. Apparently, there's a lot of hype. I didn't even know about this.
There it
All
is.
right.
There is.
All
We'll
right.
dig into it
It
more.
is that was definitely one that was on my list for sure. My fourth choice is going to be another one that I think is going to clean up in some of the non-technical nominations, but I also don't think it's going to be as big of a winner like Amelia Perez. I'm going to choose Blitz.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's one that was certainly on my list. I was trying to find a place to put it.
Mhm.
But okay, all right. And then my final selection here. Oh, this is tough because there's two films
Mhm.
that I thought we sort of leapfrogged them because they were in the middle of my pack here of
Mhm.
selection. So I'm surprised we totally skipped over them. But there's two films. This is the part where it's like one side of me wants to go in one direction because I want to see the film do really well, but I I think it has a low ceiling. They actually both kind of have low ceilings, but one might be able to get an actual win,
Mhm.
and that puts it higher.
Yeah.
So mm, I think I'm gonna play it a little bit safer here
Uh-huh.
and go with the option that I think has a more locked in guaranteed win. I'm gonna
Mhm.
go with A Real Pain.
Good choice. Good choice. I would have done the same thing. And my last pick, the last movie on my radar, the only one that I think will make a notable amount of nominations. Again, I think I'm going to clean up in some nominations, but I think you have a higher chance of more wins based on what we're looking at. But I'm going to go with Nickel Boys.
That was the other one. That was the one I
Yep.
was looking at here. All right. So there we go. So we'll list our 10 all
Yep.
together, and then we'll go one by one in the order that we picked them and dive into our logic and rationale behind the selections.
Yeah.
So my first pick was Dune.
My pick
Yours.
was Honora.
My second was The Brutalist.
My second was Amelia Perez.
My third was Conclave.
My third was Gladiator 2.
My fourth was Wicked.
My fourth was Blitz.
My fifth and final was A Real Pain.
And my fifth and final was Nickel Boys.
All right.
Of these movies, which ones have you seen?
Dune.
That's it?
Dune Part 2, yes.
I've seen Dune, Honora, and Conclave, and that's it.
It's been yeah, it's been a crazy week. A lot of things. I'll tell you all about it soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a wild week. So I haven't been able to really go to the theaters this upcoming week. I'm hoping to do a gauntlet and just go through all the ones that I'm missing, like Conclave. If Honora is out, I'm trying to see that
Mm-hmm.
immediately. Um, Emilia Perez, I think, comes out on Netflix. Yeah, we'll talk about that. I
Yeah.
think that's a thing that is a huge bonus for you for that
Mm-hmm.
particular film. But yeah, so hopefully this next week I'll be able to see all of them. But yeah, Dune Part 2, which came out what, beginning of the year, like March. So yeah, that's the only personal, like subjective opinion that I could draw upon for this. The rest of it, like I said, was reactions and looking at trends and
Mm-hmm.
guesstimations, things like that.
Yeah.
So Dune Part 2, I mean, we were
Obvious.
both going for it because it's
Yep.
going to clean up in
On my list, that has the
nominations for
highest
technicals
points.
and
Absolutely.
then clean up in the wins, just like the
For
first one
sure.
did. So we have, let's see, did I even write the list? Because it was like such a given. I don't even know if I put it, but it's getting best picture nom, it's getting a best editing nom, it's getting best
Mm-hmm.
cinematography nom, VFX, costume, sound, makeup,
For
and
sure.
perhaps they will do right by Denis Villeneuve and give him the Best Director nomination that he was snubbed in 2021.
Yeah.
So we will see how that all plays out. But
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, there's no score this time around, though. Best score is not eligible, apparently,
Yep.
because a lot of it was, the themes from the first film. So not enough of it
Mm-hmm.
met the original threshold. So that is at least one
Yeah.
nomination and likely win that you will not have to face from Dune Part 2.
But
Um,
what the worst part is you have Conclave and the Brutalist, which are the two front runners for best score anyway. So
right.
there's a
So
good chance you're going to claim that one
yeah,
anyway.
that category is uh, going my way most likely.
Yeah.
So ultimately, that
Similarly,
works out.
for my choice for Nora, I'm most likely going to take that Best Actress Oscar because I have Mikey Madison, and for Amelia Perez, I have Carlos Sofia Gascon. So
Right.
chances are I'm going to claim that Best Actress Oscar as almost guaranteed.
Hmm.
I feel like we're divvying up the United States in the in the electoral college right now, saying what we're guaranteed to win, what we're not guaranteed to win. I feel like we're doing politics right now.
Do not remind me of the electoral college and politics
My
and
bad.
everything. um, yeah, that was the other thing that showed me. If anything, it's that I do not know what people are thinking and what people want.
Mhm.
So who knows what the Academy will go for it? But if everything is still sensible in the world, then Dune Part 2 is going to get a hefty amount of nominations and likely win for things like VFX, for sound, potentially for editing again, potentially for cinematography again.
Yeah.
But if not, I have another film that will likely win. So again, it's that situation where if I don't win, then another one of my films probably will.
Yeah.
So those
I
are
think you will clean up in the
guaranteed wins.
technicals for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, for Anora, I do think that positions you really well because I think Best Director is going to Sean Baker, and
Yeah.
Best Picture we'll have to see, but
I feel like it's
it's
leaning
likely
towards
Best
Anora.
Picture, Best Actress, and
Mhm.
Screenplay could all go to Anora.
Yeah. It's
So
also possible for a Best Actor in Supporting nomination if they continue with the sort of, what's the word I'm looking for, campaign they're going for Yura Borisanov. I can't. I think I said his last name wrong, but I mean, I saw it. He's fantastic. I think he should get a nomination, and I think at that point, if he does get a nomination, then the three frontrunners for that category would be him, Denzel for Gladiator 2, and Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain. So that one will be like one for you and me to watch for back, like, because I think it could go to either Kieran Culkin or Denzel.
yeah,
I've
who'd
seen
have
him,
thought
both of them
Denzel
as
is getting a
frontrunners.
supporting nom for Gladiator 2? When I started hearing about that, I was like, no way.
Isn't that
But
awesome?
that is so awesome. I
It's
cannot
possible.
wait for Gladiator 2.
But yeah, I think Anora has also a very high chance of, like, it's not going to get a lot of nominations, but I think the things that it will get nominated for, it's a shoe in to win for all of
Yeah,
those like non-technicals.
indeed. Yeah,
I think it has a chance for a best editing nomination. I don't think it'll win though.
I don't think so either, but that wouldn't surprise me if it got
The
a
nomination
nomination
would not
there.
surprise me at all.
But yeah, so the big, head-to-head battle for this Oscar race is going to be Anora and The Brutalist. So that's why I said that like the best competition against Anora for Best Picture, for Best Director, for Best not actress, but Best Screenplay, original screenplay, they're both in
Mhm.
that, is The Brutalist, which also, as we talked about, will likely get a lot of technicals, best cinematography,
Mhm.
best editing, I think best original score. It was put out there,
Yeah.
best original screenplay, like I just said, best
Mhm.
production design as well. And so that's all great, but then it's also likely to be the front runner or co-front runner for best picture, best director, and then best actor. I
Mhm.
mean, so that
Adrian
could be a
Brody.
huge win right there. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a lot. And I think best supporting as well. I had seen that
Guy
in there. I
Pearce.
forget who the individual was for it, but
Guy
yeah. So
Pearce is up
yes,
for
Guy Pearce.
best supporting, and Felicity Jones would be a possible for best supporting actress.
That would be fantastic. 3 acting
Yeah,
noms.
that would be really good.
So yeah, so the point threshold there, again, probably getting 8 to 9 nominations, and then likely getting at least 2 wins, I would say. And then
Mhm.
again, it's threatening Honora to take picture, director, original screenplay.
Yeah.
Again, we tend to see whoever wins screenplay tends to win best picture. I guess vice
Mhm.
versa. If you win best picture, it's likely that you also won your respective screenplay category. So it'd be interesting since these two are head to head in best original. For the past few years, it's been an original screenplay versus an adapted screenplay for who will win best picture. So
Mhm.
yeah, that could mean whoever takes one will take the other. That's a big score because you're going to get multiple wins from that. So yeah, I think the Brutalist puts me in a really good position there. Again, it's a secondary. If Dune doesn't get a technical, it's likely Brutalist is going to come in and snatch it up, and then we'll have to see. That'll be one that we watch closely during the ceremony. But Honora and Brutalist, one of those two are going to take those the big 5 prizes,
Mhm.
and so if it goes my way, that'll be a done deal, pretty much.
Yeah. Now for Amelia Perez, I'm feeling like this is going to be the front runner for nominations, which is why I said that when I picked it.
Isn't it wild though? Like I had heard
There's
about
just
it
so
during Cannes
many
Film
actors
Festival.
that can possibly be nominated because I mean, if you remember when it premiered at Cannes, the Best Actress award went to the ensemble
Like
of
the
actresses
whole cast,
in
yeah, it was like
yeah.
4 different actresses got it.
So Carlos Sofia Gascon guaranteed a Best Actress nomination almost. Zoe Saldana is the front runner for Best Supporting
People are
Actress.
raving about her. They're saying it's
Yeah,
like the performance of a lifetime.
yeah.
So
So
she's one to watch for
almost
sure.
locked in for a win there, let alone a nomination.
Hmm.
Selena Gomez is a possible for a nomination, and there's one other actress who is a possible for a supporting actress nomination. But I like almost never have we seen three acting nominations in one category for one movie. Like The Godfather did that, and that's it. Like it's a very rare thing to see. Uh, I think it will also clean up in nominations for the non-technicals, picture, director, writing. I think it has a chance to clean up in some of the technicals. I know it has two songs in it because it's a musical that are
Hmm.
going to be nominated alone, and one of those songs is the frontrunner to win Best Original Song. So that's 5 points just in the songs alone.
Yeah, a double nomination for songs and for potential supporting actress would be huge. And then some musicals, some score seems to be in play as well.
Yeah.
As far as the other technicals, things like best cinematography, best production design, stuff like that, I don't see it getting in.
Mhm.
Uh, and again, I will have the movie, I guess, in a couple of days, but I did see the trailer. Um, it is pretty striking visually, but I don't know if that'll be enough as far as the
Mhm.
cinematography. As far as editing, I didn't see too much there, but it's a musical, so it probably will have
Yeah.
sequences that are cut together in a really
I
nice
still think it
way.
will clean up in nominations. Absolutely.
I think so too. Like that'll be a huge heavy hitter. Like if I didn't get The Brutalist, which I think will be a major nominations uh, film, then I think Emilia Perez, yeah, would have to be the one you get because, like you said, it plays in both the like
Mhm.
big five prizes, the above the line stuff, so to speak, and then all the
Mhm.
technicals.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be huge. I don't know. I'm a little less convinced that it'll get Best Director. We will see, I suppose. But the big thing for you and going in favor of this film is it's the one film Netflix has
Yeah.
this season. So they're going to push this as
Everything.
hard as they can. And so that'll likely allow it to stay in the conversation. And
Mhm.
it's, again, it's getting very good responses from the people that can go with it and love it, but also it doesn't seem like a film that everyone can jive with. So
Mhm. It's
I
a
think
little
that might,
polarizing.
yeah, a little polarizing there. So it
Yeah.
may, I think that limits its win possibility. And then I think as
I
well when
would
it comes
agree.
to things like director, like once we get closer and we see more films like Nickel Boys and stuff like that, I think there will
We
be,
see other award ceremonies and whatnot.
yeah, stronger arguments for best director for people that aren't. What's his name that directed
Jacques
this?
Audiard.
There you go. So yeah, I think he might ultimately miss that. But again, this will be 7 to maybe double digit nominations, which is
Yeah.
going to be huge.
Absolutely. Then you picked Conclave, which really pissed me off because I was thinking and I was really hoping you were going to pick Gladiator 2, and you didn't. Because
Mm-mm.
Conclave is a very solid choice, and it's looking at your list. That is the thing that makes me shaky the most. Is Conclave is going to get a decent amount of nominations, and I think at least two wins.
Really?
I'm sorry,
Well, yeah,
I
because you
looked at my
skipped
list
from
wrong.
your. Oh, never mind. He's taking the wins
Three
back.
wins, at least three wins. I think.
Oh, that's
My
even
bad.
better.
I was looking at the wrong part of my list because I think it's a shoe in for Best Actor for Ray Fiennes. The
Yeah.
only upset might be Adrian Brody, which you also have in the Brutalist.
Yes.
I think it is a shoe in. I think it's possible for best score over the Brutalist, which you also have both of those. So there you go.
Yes.
And I think best adapted screenplay is also a shoe in for a win.
Indeed.
The rest would just be nominations, but it also, like Amelia Perez, has a shot to have a lot of acting nominations. It is like an acting heavy piece. Ray Fiennes is obviously going to get nominated and probably wins.
Stanley
Stanley
Tucci.
Tucci is on the list to possibly get a nomination. Isabella Rossellini is on the list to possibly get a nomination. John Lithgow is on the list to possibly get a
Oh,
nomination. These
he'd
are
be
all
so
like
good.
like very strong possibilities because I've seen the movie. It's fantastic. They're all fantastic in it. Like I would not be surprised by any one of them getting a nomination, except
What
for
do we
maybe Isabella Rossellini, who's just not in it very much, but she still is fantastic.
gotcha? What do you think about some of the technicals there? You
I think
mentioned
absolutely a shoe in for best production design nomination and best costume design nomination, and best cinematography nomination, but I don't see much outside of that.
really wow. I didn't
Yes.
even have like the costumes on there, Which I mean, you saw the film. I don't know
The
how.
costumes are great. I mean, it's just supposed to be accurate for what Cardinals wear,
Yeah.
but it is like extraordinary the effort that's put into it. The production design as well is like they are recreating Vatican City. I think there's a lot of effort and intensity to it. I think the only thing that might knock it out of those two nominations is the fact that the technicals are kind of stacked this year with Gladiator 2, Dune 2, Brutalist, and then Wicked possibly also coming in with a lot of those technicals, and maybe even Nosferatu coming in and taking some technicals if it is something that is more commercial than some of Robert Eggers' previous movies. I could see that also coming in for some technicals, but I think Conclave is a shoe-in for a cinematography nomination, and I think it could possibly win, but I think it's battling out Dune 2, The Brutalist, and Nosferatu for that win. And you have 3 of those 4 movies, so you're almost guaranteed a cinematography win.
Oh yes. So yeah, that's amazing then, because you had a couple of nomination like categories in there that I didn't even have it marked down for.
Yeah,
Because
dude,
the
Conclave
costuming, I
is,
didn't know
is
if that would be enough of
in terms
a
of sheer
thing.
points, Conclave is number 4 for me for just pure points won.
Yeah, with your additional
Over The
categories, I
Brutalist,
have it at
even.
9 points for nomination, and then again, there's a good chance it could win. Like you said, screenplay I think is probably one of its best bets. Best actor, again, I think it will be tough, but obviously that's one of the top competitors there. And then I guess score
Mhm.
as well. You like the score? The top tier?
Uh, I think I would like other scores more. I haven't heard a score so far this year that has astounded me to the point where I'm like, this is clearly the front runner. It would have been Dune 2 had it been eligible, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Other than that, I have not seen a movie this year so far that has a score that astounds me where I think that should win. That should absolutely win. Like nothing. It's similar to I think last year was All Quiet on the Western Front, right? That one. It was last year or
Uh,
the year before.
it may have been the year before, but yeah, I remember that. Obviously,
Whichever year
this
it was,
composer
that
is
was
coming
also
back
like
to do this.
a group of people who were nominated that I didn't think there was a front runner. So All Quiet on the Western Front winning was upsetting. I remember it was the same year as Babylon because I think no, it was there was somebody who did have a good
I think that
score.
was the one Babylon win, maybe, or maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Let me look that up.
Babylon
Let me look this up
didn't
and
win best
see,
score. I remember people being upset about it. God,
because Babylon,
All Quiet
it
on the
should have
Western Front was
won for sure for
2022.
score.
I'm pretty sure.
All right, he's going
I
to the
am. All
interwebs.
Quiet on the Western Front was 2022, and so the best score for 2023 was
He's plugging it in,
All Quiet on the Western Front, who beat.
getting the
Ooh,
results.
come on, buddy. This stupid thing. I have to scroll and scroll and scroll. Yeah, it was against Babylon. That was that year, and
Ridiculous.
that was the same year that Everything Ever All at Once was nominated. I thought that was a better score. It was the same year that The Banshees of Inisherin was nominated. Carter Burwell. I thought that was a better score. And it was the same year that Babylon was nominated with Justin Hurwitz, and I thought that was a better score, even though I
That's kind
hadn't
of
seen the movie.
crazy. Then how did this win?
I don't know how All Quiet on the Western Front won because I remember thinking the score was good, but it's just the horns going ba ba ba. That's all it is.
Mm.
Do you remember
Well, I
that? You
remember
watched it,
every time
yeah.
that when they won, and then they walked up, and it was that motif playing over and over again.
Don't get me wrong. It's great. It is really great in the movie. I don't think 3 notes earns an Oscar.
Right,
Of course,
especially
there's more to the score, of course,
against those
but
other films, though. Is
dude, Everything Ever
like
All at Once,
Babylon
come
goes
on, dude.
crazy.
The music is what sells the sentimentality of that movie.
Yeah, so we will see. Again, they like this composer, so they might give it to him again for
I think
Conclave.
the problem with Conclave was I was so focused on the movie itself because the story and the acting are so extraordinary that I wasn't really thinking about the score as much as I should have.
Mm-hmm.
It was never like swelling or doing something like it was never noticeable. It was very much in the background, uh, trying to layer in intensity, kind of like a lot of Christopher Nolan movie scores, which are also great, but they are for the most part in the background until they come to the foreground and take over. And I just didn't feel a moment where it came to the foreground. I guess I just have to rewatch Conclave. I've been meaning to. I really liked it, but we'll see. To me, that from what I've seen odds wise, that is the front runner along with the Brutalist, which I have no idea what the score for the Brutalist is because the trailer is a minute long. I know nothing about the movie. Can't find shit
Right.
anywhere. I just want to watch it.
Yeah, December, Christmas, fun Christmas movie.
I want it to come sooner.
But yeah, all right. Let's now talk about the next selection of films. Very interesting here. Again, we have
Mhm.
Glicked. So just like
Yep.
Barbenheimer last time was a very pivotal divide in our rosters. Here we have Gladiator 2
Yep.
going to you, a noted Gladiator hater, and
This is
then
true.
Wicked going to me, a noted non-fan of all the trailers and promotional material I've seen thus far of the movie. But then
Although, as
also,
am I.
you are the big fan of Wicked, the musical, the Broadway musical. So
Yes.
interesting
Dude, the
reversal
Wicked
here.
movie is almost 3 hours long. That's crazy.
That
It's
no,
2 hours and 40 minutes,
that's absurd.
reported by IMDb. Isn't
And
that
it's part
insane?
one.
It can't be.
They,
It has to be the whole thing.
they didn't fit all of it in there.
No, they must have gone back because it still says Wicked and not Wicked Part One. They must have changed their mind and just did the whole thing in one movie because there's no way the first half of that play has been stretched out to 3 hours.
I think it's still. I think Wicked Part Two is still on the schedule for next year or the
There's
following year,
just
something like that
there's
for
no way,
Warner
dude.
or
That's
for
fucking
Universal.
atrocious.
Yeah, so we'll
It's
see.
like a 3 hour musical at most. They doubled it. They pulled a Hobbit. It's crazy. There's no way.
Yeah,
We'll see when it comes out. But I picked Gladiator 2 just because I think Wicked has a good shot of getting those technical nominations, but I think it is going to be very difficult to win. Like the technicals are a very crowded category, like a very crowded segment this year in terms of heavy hitters. I don't think Wicked has a shot in hell of actually winning a technical, but I think it will get like 4 nominations:
yeah,
visual effects, costume design, production design, maybe cinematography. I don't think it's gonna win anything.
no shot at good cinematography, and probably shouldn't get VFX either. But I do think
It'll get a
uh,
VFX nomination, absolutely.
production design. Well, that helps me out, even though I disagree with it. Again, just from the trailers, we'll see the actual film. But production design, costumes, hair and makeup, I guess, because she's green. And then who knows what else they do. Although I think the all the CGI, were they the monkeys, the whatever,
Yeah.
they're CGI, so they didn't really get a chance to do
Hmm.
some nice makeup there. But I think the hair part is going to be doing the heavy lifting
Hmm.
for that film, but get
Yeah,
a nomination.
I would agree. I
I
don't
was
think
looking
Wicked
for song, but there's no original song, which I'm surprised. Usually they always try
like
and
sneak
just
a new
slip in a
one.
new original song, especially you got Ariana Grande, but they
Hmm.
didn't do it.
Yeah. I think Wicked has kind of a chance to get a Best Picture nomination, but it seems not so because we have 10 movies here. Looking at the 10 movies we have listed, I think they're all going to get Best Picture nominations, except possibly Wicked. I think Sing Sing has a better chance of getting a nomination than Wicked does for
Yeah,
Best Picture.
we'll talk
So I think
about.
Wicked will get squeaked out. It will get good technical nominations, and I think Gladiator 2 will also get good technical nominations. But
VFX,
yeah,
costumes,
uh-huh.
sounds is the big one. Although Wicked might also get sound, I guess, if it's a musical. I didn't have that marked down, so that could be one that it
Possible.
gets. And then production design for
Yeah,
sure for Gladiator.
yeah,
So those are
and
the four that I have for it.
Best
And then
Picture
Denzel,
and
and you have
Denzel.
Best Picture.
I
See,
think
this
it
is the
will be
thing.
nominated
I
for Best
think
Picture.
one of the two, like either Wicked or Gladiator 2, will get into Best Picture, but not both.
I would agree.
So we'll have to see which one it is. Obviously, you think Gladiator 2. I think Wicked probably will have a better shot
Well, you're the
ultimately.
guy who thinks Gladiator 2 is going to be great.
I do. And if it were me, Gladiator 2 would be getting nominated.
I think
But
there's no shot in hell that you and I watch Gladiator 2 and we watch Wicked, and it's almost guaranteed you are going to like Gladiator 2 a lot more than Wicked, having seen what we've seen. I don't
mhm.
think there's any shot in hell Wicked gets a Best Picture nomination over Gladiator 2.
But you're forgetting Ridley Scott these past few years. This is a part of why I was
I
hesitant on
understand.
Gladiator 2, because this man has not been getting the love, for better or worse. Some films didn't deserve it, House of Gucci, Napoleon, but some of
Yeah.
them did
The Last
deserve it.
Duel.
The Last Duel, and that did
Yeah.
not get hardly any nominations. It was crazy.
I still think
So,
though the notoriety around the first Gladiator, having won Best Picture itself and cleaned up in a ton of awards, I think it has enough clout that if the second movie is good enough, it will secure a Best Picture nomination. And I, I mean, it just depends how good a movie Ridley Scott makes, but he has a shot of a Best Director nomination if it's good enough. In the same way that Steven Spielberg making The Fablemans was a for sure nomination for him for Best Director, and he was close to winning. Or I guess I should say Steven Spielberg for I think a better example is uh what is it called? West Side Story. I think it's a better example of a
Mm,
nomination because I think Fablemans he was like legit the front runner until Everything I Roll All at Once came out of nowhere. But I think in this case, I don't think he'll be anything close to front runner. I don't think Gladiator 2 will be anything close to front running for anything. I don't even think it's going to win a single award because the
right.
technicals are going to go to Dune 2 and The Brutalist, and hair and makeup might go to something different like Nosferatu or The Substance. And I think Gladiator 2 it'll be one of those ones that just gets a bunch of nominations and no wins. Like Gangs of New York. Did you know Gangs of New York got 10 nominations and no wins?
Scorsese's the master of going 10-0. Like he's done
Seriously.
that for 3 different films. That's insane.
The poor man.
But yeah, I think there's definitely going to be representation for both Gladiator and Wicked, and some of those technicals, like production design, costumes. I think
Sure.
those are happening. So I think there's about 4 safe nominations for each film
I would agree.
in technicals, and then I think you have a likelier supporting with Denzel. However,
Yeah.
there's been conversations about Ariana Grande for supporting actress.
I
We will
just don't
see
think.
if that happens. Yeah, I'm a little dubious on that as
I
well.
think supporting actress is such a stacked category already with Amelia Perez and Anjanae Ellis for Nickel Boys and
Hmm.
the Brutalist, Felicity Jones. I think it's already so stacked with like legitimately powerful performances. It's so crowded that if Ariana Grande finds a way to get in, then she just better be like amazing in Wicked.
She could be. I mean, this is
She
what we're
could.
hearing from the people
Absolutely she
that
could.
did it or that saw it and they're hyped up for it. So that could be one. So again,
It
there's
just
like 4
seems so rare.
technicals
It's so
and
crowded already.
a 5th for a supporting actor nomination. And then there's the best picture, which we both agree it's going one way or the other, probably not both. So that gives us to around 4 to 6 nominations for each film, depending
Yeah.
on how things go. I think Wicked has a better chance at winning some things, though. I don't think Gladiator 2 will win anything. I think Wicked has the potential to win
I
a
don't think either
couple
of
of
them are gonna win
things.
fucking shit.
We will see. We will see. But
The only movies I counted winning anything on my list were Anora, Dune 2, The Brutalist, Amelia Perez, Conclave, and A Real Planet. Those are the only movies I counted claiming any awards.
mm, yeah, there's
Sing Sing has a possibility because I heard the acting is fantastic in it. I feel like there are other frontrunners right now for acting wins, and I feel like that movie could possibly be seen as sort of Oscar baity a little bit. That it is a little like playing on the heartstrings for the sake of winning awards. But I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen it. I've heard my brother said it was fantastic. I've been meaning to check it out. Coleman Domingo is supposedly amazing in it. He was the front runner for Best Actor until Conclave came out, you know,
right.
and The
Uh,
Brutalist started getting
and then when
traction.
Brutalist comes out, I'm sure
Adrian
Adrian Brody
Brody will
will
will take it. Yeah,
take that crown. But yeah, Sing Sing was the one that we didn't have on our list, which is fascinating because if we did this 6 months ago, Sing Sing would be the front runner because that
oh
was
yeah.
one that came out earlier in the year.
Hmm.
However, a thing that is working in its favor is they will have a re-release towards the end of
Hmm.
December or early January or something like that,
That's good.
and so that'll put it back in the conversation. That's one that could be a dark horse to win Best Picture, Best Actor,
Hmm.
things like that, Best
Yeah,
Screenplay potentially.
I
But
highly doubt it, but it's possible.
yeah,
I
just the
think it's a
likelihood
shoe
now
in.
is slim to like bet on that as a
Yeah,
surprise upset. Now
I
that
have
we
it
have
marked in
Brutalist and Minora,
nominations. Marked in nominations for Coleman Domingo, screenplay, and picture, and I don't have it winning any of those.
right?
I don't
But it
see
could
it being
be
nominated for anything else either.
Coda. Again, we missed Coda, and it did in fact get
This
nominated
is
for
true.
3 things, and it won those 3 things. So it could
This is
happen
absolutely
again.
true.
We will see. But
You are correct.
yeah, so for Gladiator and Wicked, I think it will be like a neck and neck thing. I just think Wicked has probably a better chance at production design and costuming, given that it's leaning more into the whole musicality, musical aspect, Broadway stuff. So we'll see. We will see how that goes. And then let's see, are we to
Hang
our
on.
5th and
Blitz.
final selection?
I picked Blitz as my fourth pick.
Oh no, yeah, you're 4th. Blitz. Yeah, so this is one that I think is also in recent weeks. The hype
Mhm.
for it has died down, and
Yeah, for
people
sure. Absolutely. This would have been a front runner 2 or 3 months ago
exactly.
for me. Because I was
Um,
like, I think I said on the show even that this could be Steve McQueen's year to like clean up. This was
mhm.
before Nora started blowing up. This was before The Brutalist was even talked about or known about even. So I really thought Blitz, it was like going to be the year of Steve McQueen, and Apple TV was going to run away with it like they did with Coda. But I think still chance for a Best Picture or will get a Best Picture nomination, possibly get a Best Director nomination for Steve McQueen, though it seems more and more unlikely as the weeks go by. Saoirse Ronan, Best Actress nomination. I don't think she's going to win. Or Best Supporting Actress, I mean. But I don't think she's going to win. I think a lot of technical nominations, no wins. Right. I have no wins listed for Blitz, but I think it will get 5 or 6 nominations.
Yeah, it seems that way. It seems like the strength of the technicals, certain things. Again, it's a period piece, it's a war film, so things like costumes and sounds, production design as well, potentially those things seem like they'll still be able to get in there, but because there might not be as much enthusiasm behind it, it won't win any of those, and then it'll probably be limited to a Saoirse Ronan supporting actress nomination, although she might miss it because she also has another film, The Outrun, where she's lead, but again, people might just
it's very rare
like,
to win to get 2 nominations for acting in a year.
Yeah, again, if anyone
Scarlett Johansson did it a few years ago, it's still like just incredibly rare. It's possible. I just feel like The Outrun, the only reason I think she might have a better shot at The Outrun is that Best Actress feels like a much less crowded category this year. I think Mikey Madison and Carla Sofia Gascon are leading it, and then I think there are just a couple people who are trailing in with them, and I think Saoirse Ronan could be some of those people following them in. I think supporting actress is incredibly crowded this year with Emilia Perez, like we were talking about, possibly even Ariana Grande, Felicity Jones, all of these things building into Best Supporting Actress, and it's possible Saoirse Ronan still squeaks in. There's like she is in the odds to make it, possibly being the 5th person nominated. I highly doubt she's going to win. I highly doubt Blitz is going to win anything. But at this point, I listed only 6 movies that I think will win any awards at all, and I think we have cleaned up the winners that we've already. So it's just turning into a nominations game. The only one that I think is on the lower end of nominations that will turn out wins for me is A Real Pain. I think A Real Pain has a good shot of winning Best Supporting Actor for Kieran Culkin. I don't think it's going to win Best Screenplay for Jesse Eisenberg, but I do think he will get a nomination. And I think that will possibly be it, and maybe a Best Picture nomination. But
I think Best Picture, will get locked, because if Kieran Culkin is that strong in supporting actor that he's the clear frontrunner right now, I think they'll definitely get a Best Picture nom for it. And then I think screenplay as well, because there's been a lot of great things said about the writing. So yeah, those were the only 3 nominations I gave it, and then I'm banking on Kieran Culkin taking the win for it. So I have 6 points there.
Yeah.
But yeah, at this point, this far deep into the roster, you have to look at what can round out my nominations and get points there, even if it isn't, competitive for certain wins. So I think Blitz was a good selection there to make at, that stage in the draft. And then, A Real Pain, just because it had the win potential, I had to go for it. It, had more than Nickel Boys. However, I think Nickel Boys does have like a higher ceiling, but I just don't know that it'll actually be able to collect all those nominations.
I think it will get 0 wins. I think it will get 4 nominations is my prediction. This is why I picked Nickel Boys. I think Best Picture is a lock. I think Best Adapted Screenplay nomination is a lock. I think Best Supporting Actress for Anjana Ellis is certainly possible and highly likely. And I think Best Cinematography nomination is highly likely.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think I would say cinematography is probably even more of a lock than adapted screenplay. I think the most notable thing about the film, what we've heard so far, is their approach to shooting it. So the cinematography, I think, will definitely be the main driver for conversations about Nickel Boys. Adapted screenplay, I think, it makes sense for that to fit in there as well. And then I hadn't seen the Anjanou Ellis as a major player in supporting actress, but I wouldn't doubt it. She's great, so that would make sense. I think it could also be a potential best director for Ramel Ross. Again, just the very creative way that they approach this film. Again, the cinematography, like deciding to shoot it from POV essentially is massive. And then I've heard some things as well, like it's not going for such a strict adaptation of the book. Like it's trying to take some of those sentiments, the feelings, vibes of that novel, and then translating it into what plays best in that audio visual experience that cinema offers. And so, yeah, I think Ramel Ross, just because of how unique and very distinctive his directorial stamp on that film is, I think there's going to be some support to get him to Best Director nomination. So I think that could bring it into 5 points potentially, but I had it at 3 to 4. I think Best Picture, Screenplay, Cinematography are locked nominations. That brings it to 3. But yeah, with no wins and with potential Best Supporting, potential Best Director, it only really gets up to 5 points, best case scenario.
Yeah. It's crazy. Had this been several months ago, I think our picks would have been very, very different. I think The Substance would have been bigger on our radars. I think Sing Sing would have been the one to gun for. I think Anora still would have been there, but I don't think either of us would have thought it would have been this heavy a hitter. I mean, Sean Baker's always been kind of like the underdog kind of filmmaker. I don't think any of his movies have been nominated for, Willem Dafoe for Florida Project, and that's, I think, it. So, I mean, Sean Baker coming in out of nowhere here is delightful, especially having seen Anora, which we'll talk about after. But yeah, I'm looking forward to.
We'll dedicate an episode to it because that'll be
we will
a great conversation. I'm sure
it will.
Very looking forward to that. But yeah, The Brutalist as well came out of nowhere. Like that one was one that
I hadn't even heard about it 2 months ago.
Exactly. Yeah,
didn't even know it was a thing.
It premiered at I don't even know which one it was. If it was TIFF or New York or Venice or which one of the festivals, but it premiered at one of them, and then
I think it was New York because someone I know in New York saw it and like posted about it on their letterbox. I'm like, there's nowhere else you could have seen it but a festival. Like, there's no way it's playing anywhere.
Yeah. So shout out to the Brutalist for coming in and shaking up the game
for sure.
Hopefully, it'll be an amazing addition to my roster. I think it will be getting plenty of wins. I feel good. I feel very strong.
I think you should feel good. I'm definitely not as confident as I would like to be. Certainly more confident than last year, which was, again, just an embarrassing performance. I think it's still anyone's game. I think we're going to learn a lot about where it's going to go based on the Golden Globes and the Screen Actors Guild and a lot of other different award ceremonies over the next month and a half. And then the nominations will come out the beginning of January, and we'll go from there, I guess.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I think your paths to victory are quite narrow.
I don't think that's quite true. I think looking at my tallies, looking at the point tallies here, I think you have a lot of nominations and technicals, but that's a lot of competing interests that I think are going to knock you down.
And I think guaranteed wins.
I think I have similar nominations possible in those same technicals, but I have expanded my interests outside of those technicals to the non-technicals for more wins in those areas. So I think it's still anyone's game. I think you're going to clean up in technicals. That's absolutely a given.
And 100%. Sometimes that's all it takes.
You're right. That's what happened when you won with the first Dune, is you just cleaned up in technicals, and it killed me.
But
remember, the reason I won with Everything Ever All at Once was because I cleaned up in the non-technicals. So
it's cleaned up everywhere. That was the crazy thing, is it was sweeping pretty much everything. So yeah, that was a great.
Well, I got 3 acting awards for it, and then writing, directing, and picture.
Which are like, say again?
For Everything Ever All at Once, I got 3 acting awards, writing, directing, and Best Picture.
Mm-hmm.
That's 6 awards off the bat that are not technicals. And I think I'm going to get, I have a very strong feeling about picture, writing, directing, and some of the acting awards again this year. And so you can clean up in the technicals. I think I have you beat in terms of wins. I think we are coming close, neck and neck. I think I have a higher chance of nominations than you.
There's more technicals than there are those quote unquote above the line categories that you're citing there. So I think even on that front, it'll be because you would need a clean like sweep. But again, Honora isn't competing in best actor, best
Yeah,
supporting actor. We think it could, but probably not.
not probably
It
not gonna
doesn't even
win.
have a best supporting actress, so it's not quite the same as Everything Everywhere All at Once, even as far as nominations, let alone win potential. So I think that puts you back there. And then I'm gonna make a prediction. I'm just say this is how it's gonna play out.
All
Okay.
right, go ahead.
Conclave and Amelia Perez, they're a wash. They both get 9 nominations, let's say.
Hmm.
Uh, Probably unlikely that Amelia Perez wins anything outside of song, and Conclave will probably pick up one
I
win.
think Amelia Perez gets supporting
Score.
actress.
Um, you're right. So maybe 2 wins there,
I think
and
Conclave gets best actor, unless it goes to Brutalist, in which case you still get the point. And I think Conclave gets best adapted screenplay. Other than that,
actually,
I
yeah.
think
So
it's a
let's call it
wash.
that. Let's give adapted and score to Conclave. Okay, so that's
Yeah,
a wash, complete wash with Amelia and Conclave.
I would agree.
I think Gladiator 2 and Wicked also a wash. I
I
think
would agree. I think
four
nominations, no wins for both.
four technicals, one potential supporting actor, one of them will get Best Picture. I do think Wicked will pick up a couple wins, but we'll call it a wash.
Yeah,
Exactly even. A Real Pain and Nickel Boys, I think, are also kind of a wash. Again, A
nominations
Real Pain will
probably
probably
maybe
get
one
the
win.
edge by
Yeah,
2 points. Um, so then we have Dune, Honora, The Brutalist, and Blitz. Dune demolishes Blitz. That's done. And then The Brutalist and Honora are head to head. And again, I think The Brutalist will probably win some of those technicals like cinematography, stuff like that, and then could beat out Honora for Best Picture, for
if
Best
it does, you win
Director, although I don't
absolutely.
think it will. And then Best Screenplay. So that's the thing. It's like
I think
if
if you
you're
take best
head
picture
to
with
head,
Brutalist, I think you do win because then that means you also get best screenplay.
I'd say even, well, right. So yeah, I would say
But
even
I think
with,
Nora is still the front runner to win, and
if
I
Honora
would
wins those
rather,
three,
yeah.
and well, you need actress, you need screenplay, you need director and picture. So you would need to get like a clean sweep of those four.
I
I
think it's a good
don't
shot.
I don't know that that'll happen. So we'll have to see. But even if that does happen, I think the margin by which Dune obliterates Blitz is so large that you won't be able to catch up, even with an Honora sweep.
But with the sheer amount of nominations, I think Amelia Perez is going to knock out nominations, and I think Conclave. If you're comparing those two specifically together, I don't think Conclave will have a comparable amount of nominations, and I think their wins are about the same. So I think I have the edge up by literally like a hair. I think when we look at the final totals, when this is all over and said and done, I think one of us will win by a fucking hair. I think it will be very, very close. And I think I'm banking on Amelia Perez locking in a bunch of nominations for all those
I don't
actresses
think
and
it's
all
getting
and
all the
those both
supporting
those songs.
noms. I don't think it'll happen. I
I
don't
think it will
honestly
get
think
at
it
least. I mean, it'll get one, and that one will win, which is what I need, and it will get Carl Sofia Gascon nomination, and it will get a ton of other nominations as well. And if it just happens to get other supporting actors nominations, that is just individual points that might be enough to knock me over, like by that
potentially.
hair to win.
But I still think, yeah, I think Conclave are going to be exactly similar in their, because you do have two best songs in there. But again, I think the
Mhm.
range is like 7 to 9 points for each of them as far as nominations alone. And then we're
I
giving
think
two
Amelia Perez
wins
can get 11
to each of
nominations.
them. Um, so I think, again, just what I described there. So I think that's how it'll go. So I'm calling it right now. I'm calling the race. It's over.
Wow.
Pennsylvania's results have come in.
Hey, hang
They
on.
have voted for The Brutalist to win Best Picture.
Hold on now.
So
Now
that's
you say that, but if I get the one swing electoral college in Maine to vote for
Arizona.
Nora,
Arizona's still
I
counting.
get
It's
Arizona,
possible.
Nevada, Michigan, and Ohio voting for Nora, then you're done.
And Ohio
So
throwing in crazy swing states now. Florida is in play again.
Florida could vote for a Nora. The Florida Project. Come on,
That's
get the
true.
fuck out of
That's true.
here. They love Sean Baker.
Hey, you're right. But everywhere else, Texas, I think Red Rocket was in Texas, so he's making a gunning for those Sun Belt
Yeah,
swing states. There you go. But all right, so that is our Oscar draft. Once again, as always, we both think our roster will come out victorious,
I don't
but
know.
I feel good.
I think my opinion is that it could go either way. I think it will be a win by a hair. I don't think one person is just going to dominate the other person. I think this is a year where a lot of I don't think anybody's going to
I
sweep
do
too
agree it'll
heavy.
be
I think
kinda
wins will
close,
be
but I don't think it'll be by a
diversified.
hair.
I think it will be. I'm going to make my prediction. The win will be within 5 points.
Wow, a 5-point margin.
That's a close fuck. That's closer than anything else. Any
It's
other
in the
Oscar
margin
I've
of
done.
error. It's in the margin of effort. Okay, we need to go out there. The 4U campaigns. We need to push hard.
Vote for
Gather
Honora.
up the donors. Get the grassroots organization. Knock on doors. Okay, we can do this. The Brutalist.
Yeah.
We can do it.
All right. That is all the time we have. If you'd like to give your thoughts on the show, you can email us at theboxofficeshowpod@gmail.com.
Our main title theme for the show is Sundown by Joseph McDade.
If you like the show, please give us 5 stars on whatever podcast app you're listening to, and be sure to tune in next week. Have a great rest of your week.